everything lined up yet? Almost. Almost. We're almost there, guys. I apologize for this. And it's my fault that we're running late. Here we go. Anyways, Holly should be here any minute now. Okay, that's going, and the other stuff's going, and I don't know when Holly's going to show up, but when she does, we'll bring her on then. Until then, I guess I'll do some sharing. And yeah, you guys bring whatever you want to talk about tonight. Got a couple things to cover. Gonna knock it out. Got some announcements to make. We're going to be changing the days that we do this, just for well, because I selfishly want to go watch my nephew play football, and so that's why. But we'll announce that when Holly gets on. We've tossed around a few ideas. If you guys have other ideas, let us know. Tonight, I want to talk about. I definitely want to talk about that ice shooting that happened. That was I don't know. What is going on? I mean, the left is okay. The left is obviously accelerating stuff. I think them losing the election broke their brain. And so now they're just going to run to the fences as fast as they can. And so far, I don't want to say, I mean, obviously that ice shooting was very inept. That was just, what were they thinking? Just opening up on a van. What did they think? What did he think? I shouldn't say it like it's all the left, but all the left seems to be ramping up their rhetoric. And then anytime you point it out, they say, well, what about the right's rhetoric? And yeah, the right has rhetoric. Of course. Let me center myself there real quick. Everyone has rhetoric, but the left keeps running for the fences, calling everyone fascist. I would dare someone to define for me fascist. What is a fascist? Is it, I mean, in my mind, fascism is when the state and corporations get together, usually compelled by the state to force corporations to get together to make it so that the state is, if not deified, but strengthened. The state's goals all get met by all the corporations. And if that's your definition, well, yeah, but both parties are, and we have been, and we will continue to be a light form of fascism. You know, when the Biden administration came down on all of the tech industries to shut down any conversation surrounding COVID, which just came out this week, that's a big news story that's kind of ignored right now that I hope I get a chance to dig into in the coming weeks, where Google came out and said, yeah, they did that. Twitter, Facebook, when Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan and said that they were like, that the administration was calling and threatening them when, what was that press secretary's name, Pinsky or whatever, when she would come out and have a list of names to get off of Twitter. That's fascism. Trump I wish Holly was here right now, but what's his name? Carr, the guy over the FCC, when he came out and said that stuff, maybe he secretly works for Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy Kimmel got the best ratings he's had in years the other night. So, and that might carry on. He made Jimmy Kimmel a martyr, just like the shooting of Charlie Kirk made Charlie Kirk a martyr. The churches are filling up, and we'll see. We'll see if these all carry on. We'll see if I would argue that if the Republicans end up winning in the midterms, I would argue that is because of that. But anyways, Holly's here now. Let's have her chime in. I was just talking about how that FCC guy Carr on the podcast came out and said, they talk about shutting down the ABC deal that was going through. And so now Jimmy Kimmel's got a new lot at life.
Well, the FCC should never have gotten involved, in my opinion.
100%.
They didn't have to. The public was doing enough, and local radio stations have a right what to air, and they were doing enough. I don't stand for that. That to me is tyrannical. It's no different than what was happening to conservatives during COVID or people who disagreed with the narrative. So when you are basically shadow banning or pulling things off the air, that is one of our biggest pet peeves as conservatives. So to see the threat of it being done or it just being toyed with, or Pam Bondi talking about hate speech, and I'm like, hate speech is the only thing we need the First Amendment for. You don't need First Amendment if you're talking nice things. The problem is you don't know who's in charge and who's deciding what's hateful. Threats absolutely should be addressed. Inciting violence should be addressed, but just saying a bad word or dancing around because someone was murdered horrifically, that's protected, I believe, by the First Amendment. And honestly, I'd rather see who these people are. The FCC has no business. Let the free market take care of itself. What happened there is they got to turn people, independents especially, and go, wait a minute, no, Trump or Trump's government doesn't get to say who gets to have a show and who doesn't. And
100%.
that would be right.
100%. I wonder how much, because his ratings were what, 150 million or something like that?
His were 150,000 or something.
Yeah, and then they were over a million, like 1.5 million or whatever. That night he came back, and so I'm sure some of those were people who were adversarial to him, going to see what he was going to say. But 100%, a lot of those were people who were taking a stand against the Trump administration. So if Jimmy Kimmel keeps going and gets a second wind, it will be because of Trump. That's just hilarious.
And to go from not even 200,000 viewers to triple that in a night, people wanted to see his apology, which, as we know, he had to make an apology before he was able to get back on the air, according to what I've read in ABC and Disney. So he did make an apology, and then he doubled down on Trump, which is fine. I don't watch that crap, and I think Johnny Carson said it best, that you don't get into the issues of the day because people use this time of night to relax, reflect, and they want to laugh. It's gotten so bad in all of them that they don't talk to conservatives. If they do, it's what's her name? What's Darth Vader's name?
Ann Coulter?
No.
Darth
Cheney.
Vader.
Liz Cheney.
Oh.
Darth Vader is her dad. But they say, we've had conservatives on. out of the 500 guests, you've had one conservative on, and it's Liz Cheney. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't surprise me that they don't get views. I mean, when
Well,
you look at the ratings over the past 10 years, they've just sunk.
it went from a show that was supposed to host comedy and keep it loose, and it went to where it was a Democrat Party forum,
Yeah.
and that's fine. And it's doomed to not last. I mean, especially if you look at it. Let's say that the temperature does lower over the next few years. I'm not saying it will. I don't think it will, but let's say it does. What's he going to do then? I don't know, but
He's a one-trick pony. I think that.
well, I don't think he is. He's a funny guy.
He's
I
fine
think
to get someone else to bounce off of, but
I think he got mind captured like all of LA did. Let's face it. The movies coming out of Hollywood right now are not as good as they were 15 years ago.
No,
They're
that's
just
why
not.
they have to remake him.
There's no movies you really like. I really got to see this, and I think that's because they've fallen into an echo chamber where they're no longer feeling like they have to draw in crowds, like they have to earn stuff. It feels like it's owed. So it's not just him. I'm sure it's his writers and everyone else. And so either way, but if he does get a second wind, if his show rallies and sticks around for the long term, it will be Trump's administration's fault. 100%.
I think he will crash and burn it. I think people are, unless he changes his format. If he changes his format and gets a little more, I don't know. Leno made fun of both sides. You didn't know how Leno voted because he made fun of both sides in a really great way.
Well, and he didn't make it the center point.
No, it was supposed to be funny and fun.
Politics wasn't the center point. He would make fun of things that happened out in the world. But anyways, Percival's back. Percival says a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts nation and often race above the individual. That is associated with a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. I think he's trying to say that is what fascism is. Well, you're 100%. They exalt the nation, but they exalt the government. Nationalism can be a part of that, but it's the government. In all of them, it's as per the writings of the founders was, it's where the government allows private property or private business ownership as long as those businesses work towards the betterment of the government and the society. And they will come strong arm those that don't, and they'll force them out and force it into other ownership. Now,
well,
I would argue, allow me to finish, because when you talk while I'm talking, it just washes you out. But we have been that way since, well, FDR. It's and that's just the way it is. I don't know if there's any way around that. And sometimes it gets harder and sometimes it gets looser. But when Biden came out after the tech companies, when Trump, and it's not always Trump himself. It's unfair to classify it under the president, even though it's their administration that does it. I don't know how much Biden was involved, although when he came out and said that the tech companies are killing people, that was a lead off into that. That scared him. I mean, you can hear him talk about that.
The unvaccinated were killing people too.
Yes.
And that was another reason the FBI could go in there and tear down anything in social media that had to do with doctors arguing against the vaccine, arguing against Fauci. But Percival said it very beautifully. Thank you, Percival.
Yeah. Well, it goes on. He says, And it is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation by forcible suppression of opposition. Yes, and both parties do that and have been doing that and have done that for a very long time. They do it with soft threats. You can go through every president had a different threat regime they used, and some of them followed through on their threats and some of them did not. And then he asked, did Don Jr. apologize for making fun of Pelosi's husband getting attacked? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I I I know that maybe whataboutism isn't supposed to be used, but I get it. I would use
I
it
know
too.
that Donald Trump, when it happened, he said that he was horrified by it and that he was sending thoughts and prayers. But you see, people don't like thoughts and prayers. We get
Well,
made fun of for saying that, and they make a mockery out of that. But some of us really mean it, that we will pray for them. And I don't
well,
know.
I mean,
Whataboutism is a hard thing because what about Pelosi? Do we know the whole story there? Do we know, anytime a human being is attacked, it's horrific. And when they're famous, then it affects a lot more people. They're a lot more moved by it. But I think you could whataboutism all day. We have kids shot in school every day. We've got all these things happening where it's horrible. Period.
yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah, the one that's got me right now is it seems like the left keeps ramping up and they've got a whole bunch of these. If I was to psychologically pick it apart, I'd say the left leaned into feminism so hard that they outlawed being a young man. And so it's leftist young men, where the right young men, the young men on the right, are still allowed to be young men because the right got ostracized enough that they're already ostracized, but they're ostracized as a group. So, and but the left, they're in their group and they have to feminize and everything else. And then, so I think that's why we're seeing them. This is just my thoughts. I'm not a psychologist. I'm the furthest thing from it, but this is just my thoughts on why we're seeing them continually commit these terrorist acts, either the males on the left or the males who want to become females or the males who date males who want to become females. They've got no healthy outlet on that side for men. You can't be a man on the left.
And it's a lot white men. The white men on the left,
Yeah.
there's in the movement for conservatism and Christian is like being a Christian. A lot of that came about because white males were demonized and they were not.
Yes.
No one cared what a white male said, and someone like Charlie Kirk is like, hey, you guys need an outlet. Let's put your time and attention into understanding exactly what's going on while you're young enough to help prevent it in the future. And it wasn't just an invitation to white males, but it was one of the reasons he went into college campuses and high schools is because those males coming out, black, white, brown, it didn't matter. Their voice was being ignored, especially by the left, and the right wasn't swooping in to help them or educate them or invite them.
I think what he did is he showed them that there was a welcoming side to be a male. Yeah. Where the left, okay, so the black males on the left sees black males as pets. That's why they freaked out when black males moved and voted for Trump this last go round, because their pets shit in their yard. That's how they felt about it. That's why they all freaked out. That's why 4 years before when Biden said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, and could get away with it. But they haven't given anything to him.
No, they're racist. It's racist in everything.
They've been racist from the start.
Yeah, DEI is racist. So is affirmative action. All this stuff is racist. It's basically saying you need our help to get jobs and careers and into college because you can't do it on your own. Well, that to me, it's so offensive that that's their stance. And to me, it's ugly. Whereas the right is saying, you work hard enough, you'll get what you want to do, but you got to be a merit-based person. So don't expect a job because you're white. Don't expect a job because you're Asian or black. Expect it because you're going to do the best job out there and you've got the resume to match it. And that's everybody. That's what our country was built on, is individuals joining a collective with individual specialties and gifts and spirit. And we're all for the same goal, fighting for the same goal.
Well, or I don't know. Percival says you use the whataboutism to defend Trump's fascism. All right, I want to speak one-on-one to Percival for a second. Did anything Holly or I say sound like we were defending Trump's FCC in its maneuvers against Jimmy Kimmel? Because if it was, you should probably listen to what we're saying. And flat out, both of us said that was the dumbest thing they could have done. That was awful. We disagree with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's that. But if you think it's defending, then call it defending. It is what it is.
I'm curious if Percival thinks it was fascism when Biden did it. I'm curious because that is something we all can remember. It's still fresh. I'm just curious, and I don't mean to what about. Biden wasn't my pick, and he wasn't the guy that I look to for any sort of leadership in this country. Trump is someone that I picked, and I worked hard to get him elected, and I look to him for leadership. I would call Trump out just as quickly, and I have. This is not okay. You cannot intimidate businesses because you don't like what someone is saying. That's the business's job. Look at Target. Look at Bud Light. You don't need to say a word.
Yeah, the
American people will do it for you.
The shoppers will take care of that for you. Did your mother take Tylenol when she was pregnant? I don't know. It was 51 years ago. And she's dead now, so I can't even ask her. But maybe. I don't know. That was a long time ago. Are immigrants eating the dogs? Again, I don't know. I do know that immigrants are driving up a lot of the prices of goods and services that even people on your side gripe about, such as the prices of housing, such as and they're driving wages down. That's just a blatant fact. They are. Matter of fact, go back 20 years, and that was the stance the Democrat Party held. Yes. It's just the Democrats moved into, they decided gaining power was more important than working for the people. So they left a vacuum when they walked away from the people. And that was a weird time there from Bill Clinton until probably about the Tea Party movement, where neither party gave a crap about the populace at all. That was a weird time. Shocking. Both parties were awful, but there was a vacuum, and the Republicans at least state that they want to move into that vacuum, but the Democrats gave up on it. Now the Democrats are recognizing that. I just watched an interview with the Democrat Party chair today, and he says we need to, get involved in that again. So even he says you guys gave up on it. But bringing in immigrants on such a huge level so that you can, if not get them to vote, which they would love to, which in the end they would, they just want to have those congressional seats that comes with packing a state with more people.
Yeah, Trump can end that right now by making it only legal immigrants are allowed to participate in the census.
I don't think that can be a Trump thing. I think that would have to move through Congress to hold.
Well, it'd be nice. It'd be nice for it to go through Congress. Trump, and they probably need the Supreme Court to chime in. But honestly, I think that in the past, that's all it used to be. You participate in the census if you were a citizen of the country. Because they don't want what just happened. They don't want people flooding over the border and then moved in the dark of night to different states so that those states get more districts. it doesn't work. I wouldn't agree with it if our side was doing it. But when you do that, when you put 10 million people in our country and in 4 years, 300,000 children that are lost, and you move them around like you did, and you give them all fat checks, and they don't have to pay for anything. They don't have to work for anything. They're housed, whereas we have a huge homeless population that's American. You get all those things and together in medical care, they're just being moved around, and then the redistricting starts. Well, states like Texas are saying, well, if you're going to redistrict, we're going to redistrict. If this is your plan, then we're going to redistrict. At least we'll benefit off of all these immigrants you've let into the country that are not acclimating or even showing up to court when they're supposed to.
Yeah. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, I don't know. I know that's all interesting. And, anyways, it is what it is. We're going to continue down a path. And, I think we're accelerating to fun times. That 2-way rifle range, keep your powder dry, boys. And I don't, and it feels like the left right now is bound and determined to, I shouldn't categorize them all as the left. I mean, they're all on the left, but not all the left is doing this. And I'm sure most of the leftists find these terrorist actions abhorrent. But that ICE shooting the other day, I mean, God, that was
weird. They shot detainees.
Well, he shot at a van.
It's weird. What's the point? What are you trying to shoot detainees? Are you trying to shoot officers?
And again, these are when they talk to these people's friends, they're people who became outcasts even to their own side. So they're leftists, Democrats, all that. And then they start getting more radical. And even the other Democrats and leftists are like, we quit hanging out with him. He just became kind of extreme over there and we couldn't deal with him. And that's because they don't have the healthy outlet over there. They don't have the outlet. And a lot of the outlets are gone anyway, but they just don't, because, they want to sit around and tell all these young men that you're bad, you're wrong, all your intuitions are evil, everything else. And so these boys, they don't have a healthy outlet. Where on our side, we do what I do with my children and my family. We go hunting and shooting and fishing and outside and riding the four-wheelers. And we have all these outlets that we do, these healthy outlets where they can get that pent-up energy out. But if all they do is go to a slam poetry convention and listen to women tell them how men are evil and read all these corrupted studies, that's what they get.
I think a healthy outlet would be debate. I think getting them to understand their positions, even if I don't agree with their positions, I think having a healthy debate in a free speech type forum like
that's not a healthy outlet. Not for boys. A debate's a healthy political outlet. I'm talking about a testosterone outlet.
Yeah, but they also need dads, and they also need family. That is key. What you're talking about. You engage your family and your boys, and that's so important. Family is everything, but that is also not important to the left. It's just not. And that's just simple culture. And if we just, in the Black culture, in the Asian culture, in Hispanic culture, in white culture, family has always been so important, the family unit. And some of these kids don't have that, or they've alienated themselves from their families because they've been blue-pilled and told that their parents are stupid and they know better.
Well, they're told to shun their parents.
Yes.
Quit going to dinner. Or if you go to Thanksgiving dinner, you must confront them on their evil thoughts. And
go no contact. go no contact or confront. What the hell, dude? Eat your turkey and talk to your grandpa and
Mhm.
take your gifts at Christmas. Like,
Yes.
that's the number one thing right there. It's family. Family is the best outlet you can have because they've known you your entire life through all your weird phases and all your just different things.
Well,
And
and they
they love you
actually
no matter what.
care for your long-term health and survival.
Right.
That's the most important part. Your friends right now care for you, but spend a year away from them and they won't. But my family, I went away for 4 years. I came back and they cared for me just the same as when I left. That's the difference. Where my friends drifted. It's
Yeah.
not their fault. They build their own lives. But family has a genetic disposition. And yes, there are some families that fall through the cracks and some parents that are hot garbage and everything else.
Yeah, but we're talking about the family unit as a whole because we know there are a lot of different backgrounds and things that come into play. Not everyone has a good family. I can agree, but also not every family member is the devil because they don't think like you do, and
Yeah.
you should keep them close. You should
Well,
just for
yeah. That's your genetic lineage. Matt Jones says when Gavin Newsom is podcasting a message indicating someone should do something, of course, some radical is going to do evil shit. Not sure if you have heard this recent rhetoric, but it's nuts. Yes, I did see that. Sounds like Gavin's trying to backpedal away from that a little bit because a lot of people are. Well, let's see what comes out of this. I don't know. I hope. I
if
don't
he's
know.
inciting violence, that is a crime.
Yeah,
And
I don't know. I know that it seems like you're thinking. I keep thinking to myself, on one hand, I think, is this the thing that kicks it off? When the right finally responds, it's going to be ugly. Well, I should say when they react. So far, they've been responding with words, but when the right decides to react, it's going to be ugly. And then all of you leftist thoughts will come true on this. It will be, it will be um, awful. And I hope it doesn't come to that. Every time this happens, I think, okay, is this the moment where either we take that left turn where it goes into violence, or we take that right turn where everyone says, all right, let's take a breath. And so far, neither has happened. And the left says, well, you guys just need to calm your rhetoric down. We're going to keep doing terrorism until you comply. But the left has both sides have the crap rhetoric, both sides, and they will forever. We've got to understand the rhetoric is going to be there forever. The two opposing sides, those who want to advance and those who want to keep, will always have this rhetoric. They always have, they always will. Justinian burned down a Colosseum to try to stop it, and it didn't stop it. Always. They will have this rhetoric till the end of days. We've got to get used to that. It's when you get to the violence part where you start trading lead, that's where it goes awry. I don't want that. I don't want to go to the two-way rifle range.
well, I don't. I hope it doesn't get to that, but I can absolutely see where eventually people will have enough. I think that we did take a break after Charlie Kirk. And I think people got very, very still and looked inward, at least on the right, and did take that breath because they could have very well lost it. And they didn't. And
Well,
I'm really happy they didn't.
I agree. The Republican side showed themselves to be very magnanimous.
Yeah.
100%. I'm proud of the Republicans are getting real close to making me one Christian and two a Republican. They're working
Really?
real hard at it.
A Christian?
Don't suck all the air out of the whole earth. Come on now.
Wow.
Seriously, I'm thinking maybe I'll start going to church, look around, find a pastor that I can get along with, and just for
Oh
the
my.
fellowship.
Well, Jared, Jesus Christ is my savior. I know for a fact he would love you.
Oh, I don't know. He might
Let
say
me know
not
what
this one.
church and I'll go with you.
I don't know. There's one here in town that I always see him giving food away. That I
Yeah,
like.
they're a good church. That's the one I would go to too. And you could get baptized in the lake with me.
Oh, yeah.
Do
Get
a
a
big
rash.
family baptism. I think it's fun. No, I mean, Christ is the way. Christ is
the
the light and the way.
the preacher not only sends me down a second time, but holds me till I quit kicking. He's got to wash a lot of sin off of this dude. But but
You're the
yeah, and
to
so
be washed.
did you hear about the little girl that was found up at Grantsville Reservoir?
No.
So a family contacted the police, and a little 9-year-old girl. It sounds like her mom's a drug addict and would leave her up there for days at a time while she
Oh,
went.
wait. Were they staying on a guy's property at 48
No,
something?
it sounds like they were at the reservoir in a camp trailer. And the mom had this little 9-year-old girl, and she'd leave for days at a time. And the girl had been left there for like 4 days at this time. And the mom would bring her buckets of water from the reservoir, fish shit water, for her to drink and bathe with. And I'm like, oh, so the mom has been picked up. The little girl's been saved. Hopefully, they find a happy, healthy place for this little girl to go to. She'd been left there for days in a hot camp trailer, just up at the reservoir and cold at night. That stuff boils my blood. That's just awful. Matt says, talking about the Republicans, said they did well. I thought shit was going to pop off after Kirk. I did too.
Felt
But
like to go either way.
when they gathered and had all those prayers and vigils and all of that, and granted, stuff Trump said at the memorial, I didn't really care for. But Erica, talk about if you want to build a hero for your daughter, she is that. She shined. And Katie's watching it. Katie's watching it, and Katie's just bawling watching it, just crying. I mean, that lady, she is impressive. I'll tell you what. So yeah, I would say she's definitely a hero of the week or the month or probably the decade. She is something else. And Charlie Kirk, everyone's done their best to take everything he said out of context or everything else, and it's funny, if you really hate him, I challenge you to take every evil thing he said and watch the whole event where he said it in, and it usually draws it in from this bigger evil thing he said to pinpoint a problem that he was pointing out.
Yeah, just get context of what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That provides a whole lot more, and who he's talking to and what was said prior. And yeah, if you can get context, like he really was somebody that he wasn't a mean guy. He just would answer questions and seriously just try to get kids to think on their own and see the logic and come to a conclusion on their own rather than telling them how to think.
He was a deep thinker, and that kid, gosh, man, that kid that did that really, talk about threading the needle with Hazard. And it feels like the left keeps getting baited into Hazard. Do you remember when I told you while Biden was president, I hope the right doesn't get baited into Hazard? And what that means, that the right doesn't do something so stupid that you can't recover from.
Oh.
And that's what that means, that the right, I was worried the right was going to do something so stupid, like when Biden came out and did the Darth Brandon speech or called everyone unvaccinated murderers, or or granny killers, all those things that kept rolling out of the left. I was worried the right was going to do something so premature and stupid that the military, which should be neutral in all this political crap, has to jump in and stop it. And when that happens, party's over. I am nervous that the left is still trying to do that. And I hope the left doesn't. I really hope they don't. I don't want to see what it's like to live without power or internet or any of that.
Well, I think Gavin Newsom kind of is doing something like that, where he's basically trying to
Run for
bait
president.
people. Well, he's baiting people to attack ICE.
I don't think he wants that as a goal.
No, but he wants his people to think that.
I don't even think he wants that.
On ICE.
I think he wants it so that when the primaries come up for Democrat in 2027 or mid 2026, that the only name that the Democrats recognize is Gavin the Lizard Newsom. Matt says, Matt's asking about Tyler Robinson. He says, did he do it? What's your thoughts? I've let my thoughts be known on this. I think that the story we're getting so far is the correct story. I do. The shot wasn't a stupendous shot. I explained on the last show how the line of sight and the travel of the bullet would cause that offset to happen. Yes, I still have lots of questions. I have so many questions. I'm not one, because I know how weird bullets act when they impact flesh. I'm not one to naysay when a bullet does anything weird. I know a guy that got shot in the wrist in Vietnam, and it went in his wrist, traveled down his forearm, hit his elbow bone, and then turned and went straight up. An AK-47 round, 7.62 by 39, and then went up and out his shoulder. Well, essentially, and his arm was down and bent, so it went in his wrist and then turned and went up after it hit his elbow. I've seen what it does when it impacts with animals, antelope just a week and a half ago, deer and all that stuff. Bullets tend to do weird things. You can't always guess exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, but you know who can? Is a coroner.
Well, the coroner can tell you. The coroner can tell you what it did, not what it's going to do.
But you can't tell me who the coroner was that even saw his body. I have been trying to research this. I've been trying to figure out, I've been trying to dispel a lot of the rumors online about his mic maybe had a shot in it, and it might have been ignited or something. There would be burn residue on his skin. That bullet, they said, that's an exit wound. I'm trying to disprove. There are so many different rumors online. And so I'm like, well, who did the autopsy? That's what I'd like to know. Who did the autopsy? That is not released. They're not telling us. Was it done in Utah? Was it done in Arizona? Because his body got on that plane pretty quickly. Just getting an autopsy report should settle most things. And
yeah,
there's not
it should, but let's take this into perspective. How untrusted is our government?
Yes.
When even the Republican government is questioned by the Republican people.
It's true. It is true. And it's because of the Epstein list, and it's because of the JFK stuff, and the Vegas shooting, and the Trump assassination attempt. Like
all of it.
It's so always confusing that, of course, people are going to ask questions, and if they're not being up front. Now, I know during an investigation you can't lead with everything you know, but the text message to his lover was so wrapped up pretty in a bow. It just didn't sound real to me. It set my radar up.
Seriously, the government needs, and maybe the government wants us like this, but
Oh
the
yeah.
government needs to take a minute and go, wow, out of everything on earth, the government is distrusted more than like rabid dogs and squirrels with rabies and skydiving with parachutes packed by drunks. I mean, the government is the least trusted entity in the nation. Like,
Yeah.
I would trust Firestone tires on a Ford Explorer quicker than I trust the government.
Well, and it's a, like you said, it happens in a vacuum when there is no information coming out. Or I mean, like, to them, they're thinking, well, we've released everything. We've got the gun, we've got the guy, he's been turned in, we've got video, we've got the bullet casings, and then we've got this little text over here, and case closed. But something doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm. Jeff says, what would be your tipping point? Are you talking about my tipping point towards the two-way rifle range or towards what I trust? That's a bigger question. And Matt says, me too. Jeff says, the right bullet won't exit a TNT or VMAX type. We use them so there is no exit. There are a lot of bullets that will not exit, including, I mean, we could go with a lot of stuff. He could have been using a subsonic round. What that means is the bullet doesn't have as much charge behind it. So it doesn't, it's made for quieter for if you're using a suppressed weapon. So it doesn't have the same crack, but it doesn't travel as fast, doesn't have as much velocity at the end of it. You got certain hunting rounds that really mushroom out and expand. I don't know. There was, according to the reports, and again, I haven't seen anything for real, but according to the reports, is there was some contact with bone, so that would that changes everything once it touches bone. Um, Matt asked Jeff, would you apply that to a 300? You're talking like 300 Winchester. Again, subsonic would change the game on everything. And I don't know. We'll have to see what comes out of it.
But I don't know that it was a suppressed round. You could hear the crack pretty great.
Well, it doesn't mean it was suppressed. It doesn't have to be suppressed for it to be a subsonic round. A subsonic round is a round that's loaded to be shot through suppressed weapons. It just makes it, that's where you get your quietest shot. But anyways,
It is a question. Still, people have it. They are thinking. They're waiting with bated breath. The kid pled not guilty, so hopefully we'll have a trial and we will see the evidence and we'll see what the defense does if he goes to trial. But I mean, I would have him plead not guilty too. It's a death penalty case.
100%.
You want to hear the. I want to hear it. I wish we could have had the Vegas shooter on trial. That would have been nice.
Yeah, the Vegas shooter on
Have
trial.
the state, give at least prove a motive. Not that motive is necessary in cases anymore, but
Or prove that he actually did it. That got swept under the rug really fast, like super fast. But it's gotten to that point where.
So did Trump's assassination attempt.
Yeah, right now, I mean, it all disappears. But anyway, so this young girl, I want to go back to that. This young girl found up at Grantsville Reservoir. We've got to figure out this drug problem in our country. I mean, our homeless problem centers around drugs. I know a lot of people like to say, no, it's whatever else. No, it's drugs. It's drugs. It's drug. If we take care of the drugs, that takes care of 75% of the homeless.
And drugs contribute to the mental illness that's also involved.
The mental illness comes from the drugs.
Yeah.
I know that from, close personal contact. Yeah.
With drugs. I do want to talk about the other thing that I sent you.
Oh, yes. Now that's the next big thing. This tax thing you sent out. And let me get that pulled up here so that I can maybe read along.
let me just say that 39, as you guys know, we have a jihad on taxes getting raised on us over and over and over. In Willitt County, we recently had taxes go up. I think it's 9%. And we were all in a big auditorium, 300 plus people, 100 plus people got up there and addressed the district and the board. And actually, not one person was in support of a tax hike. And so here they go. End of the night. A lot of people had left. It's 10 p.m. We thought they would table it before the vote, but they did not. 5 voted for it, and 2 voted against it. So it passed, meaning that we would be the county with the largest taxes and school taxes, because we already are high. Around all the other counties, we're already high, but this was just going to make sure we got right to the line. And Fox just put a article out about that hike. And 39 tax hikes across Utah have been rejected because of the change in a law. And dozens of cities, school districts, and special service districts are scrambling to figure out how to fund millions in government and education services after the tax increase was rejected. A change in law regarding truth in taxation hearings, which everyone has to do when they're going to raise taxes on people. And that's what that hearing was. Now, mind you, I've noticed in a few that I've been to now in my area, as well as at this school district one, these truth and taxation meetings, they're a formality to these folks. They already have in their mind how they're voting. It's a formality to show you, oh, here's what we need. Here's what we're going to raise the taxes to. And then let everybody get up and say why they hate it. And then they vote for it anyway. A change in the law, it led to Utah State Tax Commission denying roughly $80 million in funds. I think our school was back $50 million, if I'm not mistaken. That number just seems to sit with me. After they built the high school, and
50 million for our county.
Yeah, I think so. That's what they were trying to raise taxes to cover. Now,
so we take the dominant of that 80 million in funds. Is that how much they?
That's kind of how I'm reading it.
Oh.
So now there are going to be some bills that are going to be tough to pay. Draper Mayor Troy Walker says, who's also the president of the Utah Leagues in Cities and Towns. Across Utah, communities held legally required truth and taxation hearings to consider property tax and sales tax increases. In Draper, Mayor Walker said they asked residents to allow them to continue collecting about $953,000 on a retired bond in order to pay for a new firefighting truck. We had our hearing correctly. We took input. We noticed it exactly correct. He said we were supposed to, according to the statute, put one slide up that showed what every other taxing entity in Salt Lake County was doing, and we didn't do that. That's $953,000 was going to help pay for the fire truck. We'll have to pull it out from our emergency reserves to pay for it. Isn't that what the emergency reserves are for?
I think
so. The bill passed by Senate Majority Whip Chris Wilson from Logan also blocked taxing entities from getting any kind of leeway from the Utah State Tax Commission. In the past, we would just work with them and say, okay, you made these mistakes here and there, do better next time. This year, the language is very strict and says Tax Commission shall not certify a tax rate if the requirement is not met. That's what the deputy director of Utah State Tax Commission says. According to the list provided to Fox 13, 39 different cities, school districts, special service districts failed to strictly follow the law, so they are now out of money. They include Alpine, which sought $23 million property tax increase, Granite School District, $18 million, West Valley, $3 million. The reason for denials vary. Some violations include not strictly holding a standalone truth and taxation hearing, but instead lumping it in with other government business or failing to notify residents of other proposed tax increases in their county. Many of these taxing entities are using the funds to pay for classroom needs, teacher salaries, road repairs, public safety. Fox 13 is told some taxing entities are considering a legal challenge, while others are trying to find other sources of funding. One tax watchdog group said it's only fair that these taxing entities don't get a free pass for not properly notifying the public. We understand this is a difficult situation, but we want to make certain things there's equity. That when the government follows its procedures when it comes to taxes, they also face the same scrutiny and penalties the taxpayer pays. That's Billy Hesterman, the president of Utah Taxpayer Association. The Utah Taxpayer Association, which pushed for truth in taxation laws, said it doesn't see a problem with the law and its strict scrutiny. It is probably a little ticky-tack, but also, if I mess up on my tax form in a ticky-tack way, the government still makes sure I fix it. If the legislature wants to be very strict on this, they can pretty much leave the law where it is, although we would recommend some clarifications just to make sure taxing entities understand exactly what the obligations that are being imposed on them are. The Tax Commission, we're not out to deny people. We're not out to approve people. We just want to make sure law is followed. So I'm trying to see where they mention. So the entities in their proposal tax increases. Let's see where Tooele wanted 9,250,573. The tax increase. Again, it was to cover that additional 50 million they didn't anticipate in building that school.
Yeah.
So some of the counties like West Point and North Tooele City were denied before June 1st for the money they asked for. What's North Tooele City?
North Tooele County.
It says North Tooele City, SSD.
They meant North Tooele County, the services. That's Lake Point. That's the
fire districts?
Well, maybe it is North Tooele City because they did build that new fire station up there on was it 2000 or whatever, 1000. Anyways, yeah, that it's getting interesting. The government, and that's universal. None of them are trusted. And our national report card came out. The nation's report card.
And what was that?
Well, that's where they look at how our students are doing in school.
Yeah, what did it say about us?
It just goes by the nation. Everything failed. Mathematics, reading, and science all went down. Significant decrease. Everything across the board, which is funny. It's done that every year since they started this. And when they've looked at it and studied it prior to when they started this, it's done it every year since the Department of Education was formed.
Well, so, I mean, look at it. That's something that we faced in our county. Our test scores were down. Our teacher morale was down. And the spending was up and they were asking for more money. And that's the biggest problem people had out here was you're not producing a product that is worthy of more money. Fix your policies. Now, that's not just the school board to do that. That takes the legislature to maybe, a lot of school districts are under legislature control where it comes to how to build a school, how you project or don't project for a school.
It's not just the building of a school, though. It's
everything. It's everything. But I mean,
why do you hire another administrator when our teachers are leaving because they don't make enough? Do we have to have another committee member, another meeting holder?
Well, do we? It's not even the committees aren't making that much. It's our administrators and the directors. So we've got the superintendent, and then we've got 16 directors or 8 directors for 16 schools, all making $200,000+ a year. And yet, what? We can't keep teachers. And if we do get teachers and we get really good teachers, that's like the rare thing because those teachers are producing great test scores with the kids. The kids are listening. When you get a teacher there that's just for a paycheck, you can tell, man, and not just adults can tell, kids can tell.
Well, I'll tell you, the kids can tell. The kids can tell they didn't matter during COVID.
Well, yeah, they
100%.
do a class and a teacher puts a slideshow up and says, take notes. And the kids are like, okay. And this will be on the test. So the kids are taking notes. Who's teaching them? Not the teacher. The slideshow's teaching them. And then
Yeah.
the test is some of the stuff was on that test. You know, it's
Maybe when AI takes over teaching, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Then they can just have a whole bunch of directors and administrators and whatever. Matt says, he says 92K, damn, Jared and I can build one for 200K, talking about the fire truck. The taxes would be easier to swallow if we were producing high scores and great education. It sure would. It'd be easier to swallow too if it seemed like there was forward motion on our children's, you know, ability to get out of school, to get into a trade or to go to college or anything else. Right now, of course, any kid can go to college. They can go, take out a loan from the government and go to school and study African dance theory and then graduate school with $100,000 in debt and a couple of good, binger stories. And then they can serve coffee or, whatever else until, they decide to go into a trade with this extra debt and then move on with their life.
I mean,
I mean,
that is the
colleges
reality
are,
of situation with colleges. A lot of kids go there because their parents, us, our generation told them, you're going to go to college. We know you'll make more money in college, but then the colleges went, oh, free money from the government. So we're going to raise all the tuition up. Every single year tuition's going to go up. The product's not going to get any better.
it's
Not going to be able to find a job because we're adding all of these humanities and all these socialist studies, and we're not going to teach you unless you're a doctor, a lawyer, something like that, where you've got these specific
and that's only in post grad.
and then teachers too.
Yeah, and that's only in post grad. There's a study came out. Every 10 years, the cost of college doubles.
And yet the
That's
product does not.
and the product gets less and less. I mean, you could go get a degree in Taylor Swift though at BYU. Jeff Adamson says, pay educators on merit, base everything on the district test scores, and that would be a wild one
I
right
would
there.
I would
As long as,
part of that experiment.
yeah, but you also have to make sure that you do not allow them to take this pay bump for getting good test scores and add more administrators.
Well, yeah, and I think teachers, if there are top of the line teachers that are having extraordinary outcomes with their kids, the pay bumps go to them. And I think, but you would also worry that there would be lying. As long as the teacher gets to plan their own class based on the state board's recommendations and the teacher gets to teach the way they want to and the way they see fit, they can control their classroom, because we don't know how much of the district falls into these teachers and they're just like, I'm not doing this. This is ridiculous. Kids aren't going to listen to this. Let the teachers take control of their classrooms and teach. I think you would really get to see which teachers are in it for the right reasons and are inspiring kids. But let the money that is saved or made go to the teachers who are deserving, because we have a lot of great teachers in this county. A lot. I I'm I love a few teachers at Stansbury Park, but I can tell you Stansbury High, but I can tell you extraordinary teachers at Excelsior Elementary, Junior High, and it's like they're totally different schools and they totally judge differently on how they run the students. They don't follow just the grade. They follow every student differently and at their own level at the charter school. Then you throw your kid into public school. Now it's everyone gets the same thing. Good luck. And the kids are not engaged in their classrooms. And
Yeah.
maybe they are falling behind, but if they're accelerating and they're doing so great, why are they still in this class when they should be in this class? It's not attention to detail. And I wish Matt Hymas, who's the chair of our state board, would sit down with legislature and say, listen, you've got all these policies in place for schools. Let me show you a school that I've been working with that it's working. We know where all our kids are knowledge wise and what they've learned throughout the year. And this is how we do it. And this is how we move them to different classes to recognize what skill level they're at. And let's try this in public school. Let's try it with just one county's public schools and see if it produces better test scores, because charters have to produce good test scores. They're basically proving to the world they belong. And so they are trying their hardest to produce good test scores. And it shows.
Yeah. Yeah,
But public schools don't care.
We need to do something different for sure. Well, all right, let's finish out this show with what Percival brought us into.
Is Percival still on?
I don't know. He hasn't said something in a minute. He may not be. He may have got tired of listening to us rant and rave.
Well, where's Jordan?
I don't know where Jordan is. Hopefully he's at a football game tonight.
Okay, well, if you're watching this later,
let's quick knock this out. We're going to change the day that we do the show so that I can go selfishly watch my nephew play football. He's playing right now, and I would like to, in the future, go to these games. So what day are we going to change it to, Holly?
I think we decided Wednesday.
Okay, so we're going to do our shows going forward Wednesday, unless something comes up. So next Wednesday, plan on being here, if you will.
And we'll do it live, and then we'll also post them. So
yeah, they'll still be posted, but we like the interaction. We
do this for.
We like to hear people chat.
Thank you, Matthew.
Yes.
We love it hearing from all of you, and you guys are the heartbeat here. Like, you can tell us your ideas, because of course Jared and I have our own, and whether we agree or not, him and I, it's so important for us to know what you guys think, because I, for one, I hear a lot from people, especially conservatives, and they're the whole reason that I vote certain ways for the party. They're the whole reason we do certain things here in the county. I want to hear from real voters with real issues that they really want fixed, because as what I do with the party is I represent them. And if I don't have real voters telling me what they think, then I'm just going to have to go off what I feel. And that's the last thing I want to do. I know that there are a lot of us out there, all different ideas of what we think is good and what we don't. And I value Jared's judgment, even though he's not a Republican, especially because he's not a Republican, because I want to know what the independent is thinking. Independents win and lose races for us. And we are coming up on a big election year next year, and we are going to have a caucus coming up in March on the 17th. So I will be hosting caucus training nights for anyone who wants to learn how to run a caucus or run for delegate or anything. And Jared has already said he will help me as far as filming that goes. And we can do a show like that for anyone in Utah that wants to learn how to caucus.
Yeah, we'll do it separate from this one. We'll do you'll be able to find it on our Facebook page and on the Republican Party page, all that other stuff. We'll do a little, when she does the caucus training night, I'll sit there and record it and have fun. But let's get to this main story, and then we'll round it out. Have a quick night. So Donald Trump, a couple days ago, came out with saying don't take Tylenol while you're pregnant because it may lead to autism or problems. And that has caused, Percival led into it. That's why he asked me if my mother took Tylenol when she was pregnant.
So that was supposed to be a slam on you?
Maybe. And, it'd apply. I may have may have been nicked by the tism. I don't know. undiagnosed, because back then no one diagnosed anything in the 70s through the 90s. But so the question is, how did the left take it? Did the left brush it off and just carry on with their day, Holly?
No, but I was actually kind of surprised because right after I'm watching this thing live, I went right to Google to see and X to see what the response is. And they're making fun of it, of course. And Tylenol comes out, of course. And I did get the irony there. It didn't get lost on me when they went from saying, don't take this drug, but hey, we've got this new drug that we're going to make safe for children and for kids with autism to take. And then I can hear it in my head now. I know a lot of mothers, a lot with kids with autism, that think their kid changed after vaccines because they noticed a difference in their child after vaccines. I personally was worried about vaccines being in one big dose, and I did spread mine out over the course of a year for my kids. But I used Tylenol when they had a fever. I mean, but I also had a son that had febrile seizures, so I was really scared a fever would hurt him. I think that this goes so beyond the status quo because Tylenol is such a everyday household product that it just sounds insane to say what he said. Had he not had a number of doctors and scientists and stuff come up after, and even studies from the Mayo Clinic and from Harvard and these other studies of women during pregnancy that took Tylenol and ended up with children with autism, like these studies have been going on at least since the 90s. So they have a pretty good 30 years where they've been studying, and the numbers are crazy. There has to be something. So number one, I'm glad they're doing this. I don't think you nail it all on Tylenol and say, that's it, folks. I think you do take the mercury out of vaccines if you can. I don't know why they're in there. And the guy that said that in Britain years ago that said vaccines cause autism, that guy was shunned and shadow banned and embarrassed and right out of his practice. And yet, if we find out this could be true, I mean, after COVID and after seeing what happened to doctors there, again, I don't trust that the guy was lying like they made us think he was. And I had children after that study came out. And I was like, this is pretty crazy. Now, I have to preface all this by saying that autistic children and families, they are a gift to families. Nobody is saying that autistic children are not God's gift to you. I totally believe that. I just think that if we're figuring out that in 30 years, we've gone from 1 in 20,000, 1 in 10,000 to now 1 in 32 or 36, whatever the number is, that's frightening. And especially boys in certain locations in this country, it's 1 in 12 boys. That is terrifying to me. And I think they ought to dissect and look at everything. And even if it spans past Trump's administration, if they can find whatever it is, then we can avoid having autism be such a predominant thing that affects so many families. If we can avoid it, would we not try to?
Well, I will say it like this. Nobody is saying that autistic children are not blessings on your life and positive things. But the truth is that some certain numbers of them will never be able to live on their own.
Yeah.
So essentially that becomes something that needs to be looked into. So there's reports online about, okay, there's multiple news stories. I don't know if you can verify them. There's like right-wing news and independent journal and that, but it says that nurses are reporting a spike in overdoses of Tylenol since Trump said that. And then you go on TikTok and there's a whole bunch of pregnant women on TikTok who are guzzling bottles of Tylenol since he said that. And there's reports of multiple women that have actually overdosed and are in the hospital right now on a ventilator or a tube or whatever, and their husbands need to start making tough choices. So I would ask the left, you know what? Let Trump say what Trump says. You don't have to react to it with possible self-harm. You
That
can
should
let
be normal.
it be said. You know what? Don't change what you're going to do. Talk to your doctor. If your doctor says take Tylenol for your pain, do what your doctor says. But don't, because Trump said it, go and guzzle a bottle of it.
Well,
Just
his Fauci said it. Some of us had the wherewithal to go, yeah, nah, doesn't feel right. I'm not going to do it.
well,
That's called individual thought and the conscience. And you should never do what someone is telling you to do just because they tell you. Get research on it. Find out. Talk to your doctors. This is insane to me. I'm
yeah,
telling
and
you right now, Jared, if Donald Trump cured cancer, the left would be fighting for the tumors.
well,
Guarantee it.
remember when they were talking about the fish bowl cleaner that was supposedly closely related to ivermectin?
Well,
And
it was hydrochloroquine, and it was
or
close
yeah,
to that. It was called hydro something else.
but anyway, so the left kind of had kind of the same story, except no evidence of this. Like
That case found out for that case,
the
woman
wife
tried to
was
kill her husband.
poisoning her husband with
Yeah.
it. But
So
anyways, but what
left
I'm saying is the evidence we have is multiple TikTok and Twitter videos of women doing this. And I get it. And if you want to fake and make a fake one with sugar pills, I'm all for it. Be funny, live your life, shoot your shot at being a digital creator. I'm good with that. Just don't actually poison yourself.
or your
I don't take Tylenol because I know for a fact that Tylenol is hard on your organs. So I don't take it unless I'm really hurting. But I don't take anything.
ibuprofen because of what it does to my guts. Because I've had
Ibuprofen,
in the past.
and both of them are hard on your kidneys and your liver. I only take stuff if I absolutely need it. If I do go for something, I generally go for aspirin because that's the closest related to nature.
Do you
And
know,
that's,
Jared, that he mentioned a few communities and geographical locations that don't use Tylenol and don't get vaccines?
well, the
And
Amish.
the Amish, and they don't. I don't know if Trump's accurate that they have zero autism in the Amish, but they don't have any traceable autism in the Amish. So they could. The Amish aren't going to, probably know if their kid is autistic. They probably wouldn't take him to a doctor or something at modern medicine. But again, that should say something. These communities don't get vaccinated either. So is it Tylenol? Is it vaccines? He kind of said two things. Plus, Robert Kennedy is talking about the effects of artificial dyes and things like that could have big effects on neurological development in children. So
It could be
I'm glad
neither
we're
of them.
looking at everything. Look at everything, test everything, and they're going to change it on the bottle, on the Tylenol bottle, because they can, to say we don't recommend it use for pregnant women or babies.
Well, they tweeted
And
in 2017, we don't suggest any use of any of our products for pregnant women. But that's why I say, talk to your doctor. Let your doctor guide you down the correct path. Beavis says, I put Tylenol in my urethra, being to be a joke.
nice.
And I am cornholio. I need Tylenol for my pee.
Portfolio.
Good times. Yeah, I just don't take it because
Thanks,
I
David.
mean, Yeah. I just don't take it.
Do you know on
Um,
Call of Duty, they have Beavis and Butthead characters with Coach and Todd, and they're my least favorite of all characters. But they got a large mass, so I can usually get them with a sniper rifle pretty easy.
oh, I
I call it
like,
COD tunes
is
because
it,
all
is it
Call
the
of Duty
new,
are cartoony.
is it the new Call of Duty who has that actor from Pineapple Express and
Oh, Seth
his,
Rogen.
and his secret weapon is a SIG P320 and he drops it and then it kills you? Is that
Uh,
true?
I don't know if it kills you. I know when he shoots you, you turn into like marijuana leaves.
I just heard that he'll have a SIG P320, which SIG's been in and out of court over this weapon. The M17 and M18 for the nomenclature, and he drops it and it goes off because it's not drop safe or holster safe.
I
Or
haven't seen that, but I don't
that's
like
just,
Seth Rogen, and he's one of my least favorite characters on there.
I don't know anything about him. And again, I'm not going to judge someone. I mean, imagine if you worked in Hollywood. Look at, look at them coming after Sydney Sweeney and that guy off of Parks and Rec, just because they come out as Christian, or Sydney Sweeney, when it
You mean
found out that she was
Chris,
registered Republican, they come after him.
Chris
So
Pratt?
Chris Pratt, that's the dude.
I love Chris Pratt.
So if you're in Hollywood, you kind of got to, it's like not being a fascist in Nazi Germany. You got to pretend. They've
It's
got
horrible.
to they've got to pretend, because otherwise they don't get booked for shows. Adam Carolla has been shut out of Hollywood and now he works on this outside. Had to
Hey,
build his own.
Tim Allen.
Tim Allen,
had The Last Man Standing, and he had the best ratings ever.
Roseanne Barr,
He comes out, yeah. But let's all cry about Jimmy Kimmel. Really?
Gina Carano. You have to play their game. They control that system right now. That system's dying. It's going to end up somewhere else. They've rotted it because they ideologically cloistered it. They didn't let any new fresh ideas in. They just sat and bounced the same awful ideas off each other. So now their movies that they come out with are crap. The TV shows they come out with are crap. Everyone's running to watch whatever's on YouTube or TikTok or anything else.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix is taking a lot of awards up.
Well, Canada, you've got South Korea's they're dominating with their TV shows. And that's just because, they didn't let any ideas churn there. And so it is what it is. It's gonna come to its natural conclusion. It's gonna have to. And who knows?
Charlie Kirk was in South Korea a couple weeks before he died, and he did a lot of lives walking down the street at 2 a.m., walking down the street at midnight, and saying, how lit the streets were, how clean the streets are. He's like, I could never do this in a big city in the United States.
No.
I would be living in fear. He says the difference is South Koreans believe in justice, and they prosecute criminals and don't show them the light of day if they break laws. They literally had a whole park filled with blow-up seats and a little table for people to just go lounge and read or be on a date or whatever in a park in the middle of the night. And he's like, someone would rip these to shreds in America.
Yeah,
he's not wrong. In a small town, maybe not, but in a city like Seoul, that's incredible.
It's a totally different culture over there. It's been 35 years since I was there or something, but it's a different culture.
And they have a lot of respect for American culture.
Well,
and they have very strong culture about criminals not being tolerated, pollution not being tolerated. Like, you don't see people throw stuff on the ground there. It's like they're all governing themselves, cleaning up after themselves, and it's a pretty neat society. But
it's a major culture of respect.
Yes.
Major. You'll see it when you're there. When a young person talks to an old person, the young person bows a little bit and talks quieter than the old person. It's just there's just a natural respect. At least they did when I was there. Maybe different now. Anyways, but yeah, if you're talk to your doctor, especially if you're pregnant, follow your doctor's advice. I do hope we come to whatever could be causing the spike in autism we've seen over the last few years. I hope we figure it out. I hope that we figure out what it is. We find a way to avoid it and circumvent that problem.
Well, this new drug, they're seeing advances with the new drug they've talked about that's actually allowing the neurotransmitters to get to the brain, and they've seen improvement in children with high autism. So that might be hopeful. And they're making it a prescription drug, but they're making it available to the public so that you can talk to your doctor, your child's doctor, and get the prescription for it, and it'll be free to anyone on Medicare or Medicaid. But honestly, if there's ways we can focus on autism and make sure these children get fulfilling lives and the families get the support they need and they get heard. A lot of mothers have been shunned by our government and by big pharma because mothers are saying, no, my child's personality changed. And I
Yeah.
can tell you this exact day he became a different child.
Yeah.
And if it does have to do with vaccines, let's figure those out. And we have so many vaccines. And the greatest point of all, I had this argument when my babies were born with my doctor. Why are you giving my child a vaccine for hepatitis B? That is a sexually transmitted disease. Why would you give a newborn baby that? And the first one got it, the second one did not. And the thing is, I'm just like, can't that be something they get when they're older and they know their lives and their body, and they get the vaccine then? Why are you giving to them when they're 2 days old? It just doesn't make sense. So I think we've gotten to a place where we are so dependent on vaccines, that maybe some bad stuff is snuck through and we need to just get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, that or we're just financially held hostage by big corporations. Jeff says, talking about South Koreans, what would they think of Pioneer Park?
Would go near it.
I'll tell you, they would think that a lot of other nations, when they come here, we've got this idea of liberty in the U.S. deeply ingrained in us, and then we've also imported a lot of cultures, and there is a major culture that we built over here. Let's not be confused. We built the inner city Black youth culture that is so reactive as it is. We built that here. We built that through slavery. We built that through, well, the Democrat Party built that culture at every step. They built it when they had slaves. They built it when they had the KKK. They built it when they had the Jim Crow laws. They built it when they went up north and they brought welfare in that destroyed their families. They built it when they brought drugs in to the inner cities. That's me going off on conspiracy, but it's true. And the Democrats built that culture to be what it is. I happen to think that if we start seeing universally the inner city Black Americans walk away from being pets of the Democrat Party, I think we will see them blossom and we will see great things come out of that culture.
I think you will see some of the strongest family units
Yes.
Ever. And with their culture and with dads in the home like they had in the 50s, that was Charlie Cook's argument. They were better off then, where people say, well, he didn't believe in the civil rights movement. No, he thinks that it was tainted. It was the right trying to get them civil rights, but the left tainted it with the welfare state they put them under, and they got dads out of the home. And they were the strongest families in this country. They were.
They had the lowest divorce rates. The lowest.
And they were having lots of children. They were producing. They had jobs. And this is the thing, that in this day and age, if you imagine how many children have been aborted since Roe v. Wade, and then you think it's not 13% like it is the percentage of blacks in America, the black children that have been aborted is way higher. And what makes me sad is that is their prosperity to grow. They're American just like you and I. We're all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the past, forget the future. Right now, if we're born in this country, we're American citizens. And if that culture isn't given the opportunity to grow, it's by design. It's exactly what Planned Parenthood wanted, was to eliminate certain people. And here we are all these years later, and the black percentage is still 13%. But the babies getting murdered every year. There are more babies, black babies, killed in New York than that are born every year.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well,
to me, it is horrendous.
It is. It is. Beavis says something that I'm not going to read, but Beavis.
Oh, Beavis.
I will tell you that if the Republicans sweep the midterms, you will, it will be because of that. Just all I'm saying. It will be because of those actions. Will be why the Republicans are growing stronger. The churches are filling up, and your thoughts right there will be a blessing to the Republican Party. It will be.
I think I want to know because I can't see his comment.
It's fine. You don't need to see it.
But I think
and look, as far as the abortion talk, I don't want to legislate morality. I don't want to legislate it. I think that's a lost cause. I think morality must be ingrained in the person. I don't think you can force morality on people.
Well, I think it's a human right, and I think humans deserve rights, and even tiny humans. That's just me. But Jared, I think you and I should go to church together. Let's do it. I haven't been to church in a long time, but I do have a relationship with my Savior.
I hope they fill a lot of sandbags before I walk in there.
Jared, you're such a good person. If anything, you just go for the history lesson.
Well, no, it's the community for me, you know, but honestly, they've got me thinking about it. The left, the actions that they've been taking has me thinking about actions that I need to take. And it's not actions to protect myself. It's actions that I'm feeling drawn to. I'm feeling drawn to leaning more and aiding the Republican Party more and signing up for it. Like, I'm not a Republican. I voted for Trump to vote against Kamala. That is it. I didn't like her rhetoric. You know, I'm not the greatest fan of Trump's, but I voted against Kamala. I'm thinking about going to church because of the actions they're doing. They're showing themselves to be how's the word? Like dumb evil. Like we're evil because
it's good and evil fight right now.
Yeah, they act like they act evil because they're dumb. They don't act evil because they're twisting a mustache. They're just dumb. They're doing it. They're dumb. You've got their leadership is dumb. Their middle people are dumb for not rounding it all in. And then the freaking the bottom rung who are committing these atrocities are utterly dumb, like empty-headed, like honestly empty-headed. And then Aaron says, voting against Kamala is a retarded statement. Well, when Kamala and when they all come out universally and say, we need to rein in speech on the internet. Well, no, I don't want that. And Trump's talking about that now, and I don't want that. I want that least of all. I want to have this free rebellious area. And Kamala was stifling it. And also the guns. Everyone knows I stand strong on the Second Amendment. That's my big thing. And the minute you act like you're going to threaten that, you've lost me.
And
Uh,
but what happened to Charlie Kirk, I don't think it's going to be the end. I think,
he says,
and for me, I personally believe that the devil is here and he's on earth and he uses people who are stupid and he uses people who are so closed-minded. And I feel like COVID was just a test run to see how many people would follow the government
we've got some
blindfolded.
we've got some
And
haters on here tonight, Holly. Man, you're missing out on good stuff. I can't read most of it, but
well, is it
he
on?
says I voted for a C word, so I didn't have to vote for a black woman. Okay.
Oh yeah, because we care if it's a woman or a man. We wanted best ideas. Come on. She didn't have any. She couldn't even go and tell the world, oh, by the way, Biden's compromised. And as the vice president of the United States,
well, she's coming out now and saying it.
now she says it in a book, but to me, that's just her squealing on herself. As a
And she
vice
says it on
president,
TV. Yeah.
she
Yeah.
absolutely should have Article 25 to him and got him out of office.
She does a post-mortem.
Self-serving. It would have looked too self-serving. No, it was what's best for the country. And she couldn't do that. P.S. Nobody voted for her to be in the primary. Nobody voted for her to be the nominee. And if Democrats are okay with that, then you guys are already lost. As far as you talk about our democracy, we're a republic, but by our democracy, you let them take your vote away and assign you a candidate. You were assigned Kamala as a candidate. You had no vote there.
They're getting pissed in the chat right now.
Well, prove us wrong.
I don't know. Maybe this go around, the Democrats will practice democracy.
Well,
I mean, they almost did in 2016, and then they had to force everyone to drop out at once and back Joe Biden so Bernie didn't get anywhere near it. So they almost did, and after that, it's been handed down. But you know,
I get why Beavis loves women being able to choose. I just hope the women that you want to choose life. And then maybe you'll be more responsible with the women that you impregnate.
I just like reading the way they're getting rowdy.
Welcome, Beavis. Welcome, Aaron. We love it. Welcome to our channel.
Jeff says he goes to the mountains for his church. I can dig it. Yeah. I'll be heading out elk hunting in 2 weeks. I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited. Did you hear about those 2 elk hunters in Colorado? Those 2 young men that went missing, one from South Carolina, one from Salt Lake City?
No.
They went missing for like a week and they found them. They'd been struck by lightning.
Were they alive?
No.
Oh, that's too bad.
No, it was a sad story, but man.
So where did you draw out at?
Well, any bowl in Utah, so there's multiple areas I can go.
Nice.
But we're going up by Bear Lake, me and my brother. It's going to be exciting. Be a good time.
Aaron says, I choose not to choose life. Why would I choose things like that? I choose heroin.
They're just being trolls.
Aaron. Well, I love it. I welcome it. I'm glad you guys are here. Go ahead and keep writing your comments because we like to respond to comments.
A girl that has a drunken one-night stand should have the choice. She had the choice.
Yeah, she did have the choice.
Yes.
To have a drunken one-night stand.
Yeah, I'm all about giving them a choice at every turn.
And there's, a lot of people don't realize, but you can go to any pharmacy and buy a Plan B pill.
Well, and I don't want to legislate morality. I think abortions are horrible and sad and awful for everyone involved. But again, I'm a hardcore libertarian, and I think liberty is attained through liberty is freedom through responsibility.
Then at what age? What age can you abort a baby then?
No, I'm just saying liberty is freedom through responsibility, and that's you've got to work towards that your whole life. And that means you don't make choices that put you in a circumstance where you have to make that ultimate decision.
That is the ultimate truth, yes. But what I'm saying is even libertarians believe
Not all.
Okay,
Libertarians, you can't
if
say
it doesn't-
that sentence
hold
never
on.
works.
If
Libertarians,
it doesn't affect me, then I'll let it be. It doesn't affect me. Don't legislate morality. Murder is morality. And half the population thinks that you kill a baby, you're murdering a baby. And then there's the semantics of when does it become a baby? When is it okay? And well, till it can take care of itself. Well, that's 3 years old. When can you kill a baby? A baby can't survive without someone taking care of it. Even a newborn will be dead in a week if you don't take care of it. Hell, a 9-year-old could have died in the Grantsville reservoir.
Man.
So we either believe it's a human, which it gets its DNA at conception, it becomes a separate person altogether, and either we believe in human rights or we don't. And so even a libertarian should think, it's not affecting me. Why should I try to instill morals? But it is affecting a human that if you left it alone would be a human. Anyway.
I'm not arguing against you. You're misunderstanding. I don't want to legislate morality because I think that's a fool's errand.
Well, you legislate murder.
That's more. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And I guess if they want to go as far as to legislate morality in the same aspect as that would be a whole different world we live in.
I just think accountability, what you said before, is number one. You're responsible for yourself, but do not punish a baby because you had a one-night stand. In fact, give the baby to adoption to a family that would love it. There are 2 million families out there waiting for a baby right now. And why punish the baby? And I don't believe in abortion at all. Not for rape or incest. But again, I also don't want to pretend to know what a young person is going through when they make that decision. I do think it is their responsibility, their accountability. But I do believe that is a baby, and I do believe it's murder to kill it. Because I believe it's a human. The second it's conceived, it starts its DNA. It's not the mother's, it's not the father's, it's an individual DNA. And by 9 weeks, finger, toes, eyes, nose. 9 weeks. 6 weeks, it's got a heartbeat. So I just wish and hope that young people would realize it's not a clump of cells, that it is a human, and they need to really focus on how humans are made. And when they have that in mind, be more responsible if you're going to mess around or have one-night stands. And that goes for men too. That's your child. And you'll be responsible for 18 years with it. But if she kills it, that's on you too. Your child. Dead. And men should have just as much right to that woman's choice, in my opinion. Why does the woman get to decide if the baby lives or dies, and the man doesn't get to say anything? However, he has to pay for it the rest of its life if she saves it, if she keeps it. I mean, how does that make sense? What if he wants to keep it and pay for it? And the woman's like, no, flush. So yeah, you cannot make morality legislate it. But if you come from a place of just that simple place, it's a human being and it didn't get there by accident. It's an on purpose. It doesn't just happen. Then accountability's got to be first. And that's what we need to be teaching our kids. This is where babies come from. And we don't believe in murder. So just know you got to protect yourself if you're not ready to be a mom or a dad. Why has that gone away? I mean, it's saving from STDs too if they do certain things. Like, why has that gone away? Our culture has totally shifted since Roe v. Wade.
I think our culture has gone the life cycle of civilization.
64 million babies have been killed since Roe v. Wade. That's worse than any dictator ever.
Well, the good news is we're going to hit that population collapse, and then everyone can complain that Social Security wasn't able to manage.
That's
Hey,
a good point.
it's all good. It's all good.
Man, I love it when the chat is just going crazy, Aaron. Thanks for that.
You fired him up.
Yeah.
You made him madder than
A
mad.
woman must learn in quietness and full submission. Yes, yes, Aaron. You're absolutely right.
Oh. Oh.
Well, I have to definitely
Yeah.
Jeff and
Michael, good to see you on here, man. Thanks for jumping on.
is that my Michael?
Yes, you're Michael.
Hi, my Michael.
Yes. Anyways, everyone, have a good night. Thanks for jumping in there, Aaron Beavis. You know, it's good to see you, Percival, as always. Jeff, Matthew, Michael.
Jeff and Matthew, thank you for your contribution.
I don't know. Everyone have a good weekend.
So
I
we're
want
going
to
to start
thank
Wednesday. Wednesday, watch for us on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday next week, 6 p.m. We want to thank KMMU for all the stuff they do for us and everything else. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.